Yeah.
Awesome. Did you press record?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves in the business real fast?
Sure. I'm Kelly Sullivan Joyner, and this is Willow Cottage Weddings, and this particular chapel is Le Petit Mariage.
And I'm Koryn Young, and I'm Kelly's business partner.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for having us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. I know because we talked probably like a month and a half ago and did the whole Zoom wedding. I'm super excited to release that. But for anyone who is not familiar with Willow Cottage, can you introduce like what y'all are?
We are a wedding officiant business as well as a full service wedding business. We provide planning. Koryn does the planning. We have people who are photographers, live musicians, cake decorators. We have a little bit of everybody that we can call on. This particular business started because we were already doing weddings in my backyard for people who could not get married at the courthouse. And in Georgia, South Georgia, stopped performing weddings on June 26, 2015. They just quit performing in them at all because they didn't want to.
That was the day, just for clarification, that was the day that same-sex marriage was legalized, correct?
Yes, yes. And
federally, not just statewide.
Yeah.
So that really opened up the door for just people to be able to get married.
So you wouldn't have to travel like from state to state, sure to a certain state.
Well, yeah, even if you lived in Georgia and you traveled somewhere where it was legal and got married and you came back to Georgia, Georgia didn't recognize your marriage. Yeah. Which was totally ridiculous, but that's a whole other story.
That's crazy. It was only 5-6 years ago. That's absolutely crazy.
I know.
It's only a minute ago, right?
Oh my gosh. So when we were on the Zoom call, you told that same story, but really, really interesting. Like you told details. So can you tell us like the story of how Willow Cottage got started?
So
Absolutely. So I had friends, same gender, female couple, who had been together, 10, 15 years.
Okay.
And they wanted to get married. And they lived in South Georgia. And they got their license because the courthouses couldn't refuse their license, but there was no judge to marry them.
So what does that mean? So they recognized the license, but the judge wasn't there to sign it?
The judge is down there absolutely refused to do any weddings now because they did not want to do same gender weddings, so they just stopped doing weddings completely. And you'll find that in many counties up in North Georgia, South Georgia, around the perimeters. Atlanta's great, Macon's great, but a lot of them aren't. So they called me up. They knew me from my job as paralegal, and they were like, Kelly, can you help us?
Yeah.
And I said, well, sure. Let's do this. I'll go online, get ordained, and we'll have you a wedding this evening because they wanted to be married on that day. That was their day. And I couldn't figure out where to do it, and I called Chrissy at Parish, and I said, Chrissy, can you help me out? You know, do you know a spot that we could have this wedding? And she said, come to the restaurant. We'll do it here. And so we actually had them, and I got some people together, and we all met over at Parish and out in the little courtyard. We held their wedding, and then we celebrated their wedding with a dinner right there. Chrissy was so awesome. She had people come and decorate their car for them. And we had this perfect little same gender wedding on the day that it became legal.
Now, quick question: is it legal for a judge not to refuse to do that?
Yeah, because in Georgia, probate judges, who are normally the judges that provide weddings at the courthouses, they do it on their own. Yeah, it's not part of their judgeship duties in the probate court. Okay. So, but now they can't refuse to do just same gender weddings. So they either do weddings in everybody or they don't do weddings at all. And that's why this has hurt, these judges have hurt everybody. Because now nobody can have a courthouse wedding. And of course with COVID, nobody's doing it anyway. But so we have a lot of then opposite gender couples who come and they can't find anybody to marry them either.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how we got started. And then from that point on, it was just, it kind of blew up. I realized it was something I really loved to do, making people happy, offering something to these couples who didn't have a way to get married. And then originally it was all about affordability, having the affordable wedding.
Because weddings can be pretty expensive. I don't have any personal experience planning a wedding, but I've heard they're pretty costly. Can be costly.
Come at me with, I have a $5,000 budget. I can make that happen,
Yeah.
but you're not getting bells and whistles. I mean, it'll still be meaningful, right? Or
Absolutely.
you can come at me with a $25,000 wedding, and we attach it to your finances, and that's really the idea. So you shouldn't have to not have the wedding of your dreams just because you don't have the capital to make it happen. So how could we really do meaningful weddings in your budget so that you can still have this beautiful day and you don't have to not have any flowers or not have any a DJ. So how do we work with our vendors to keep that cost down? Maybe we make the day a little shorter. Maybe we, the type of place we have it at is different. So the wedding on a budget was really kind of our big move in the beginning was, how do we help people have a wedding that they really want without them, having to fork out all the dollars that are attached to that.
Well, it kind of sounds like you're all problem solvers. People come with you like, I have $4,000, $5,000 to work with. What can I do? And y'all really pay really close focus on making that wedding day really special, not having to sacrifice
I mean,
what they may want.
You can't have a full caterer with all of that, but how do we get that down? How do we get an hors d'oeuvre dinner? How do we, have a musician come and, you can still have a musician, but it's not, $5,000. How do we get that down to $500? So that's kind of the idea that you can still have a wedding of your dreams, but it's, it's within your budget.
Absolutely, that's incredible. I do want to ask this. So back in 2015, y'all did this ceremony. What was the community of Macon's response? How did Macon respond?
Amazing.
Because you think traditionally we're in the South, so that something could come of it, could get some headache, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it really seems like what you told me from the Zoom interview is the community was supportive of it.
Yes. The community here in Macon, you're always going to have those few who have nothing good to say about anything. But for the most part, Macon is this wonderful little blue bubble right here in the center of Georgia. And they call us the heart of Georgia, and we really are to me. I think that there is so much heart in this town, and we were embraced completely within the LGBT plus community, within a religious community. So many people just said, we love what you're doing. And we've never had a problem. And we've had weddings all over this town.
and I think also what happened was because we were providing this service for the LGBTQ community, a lot of the vendors were calling us and saying, we want you to know that we are LGBTQ friendly. Just so you know, we're available and this is not a thing. And we've actively over the few years that we've been working together, we actively don't work with organizations that are not open to, just diversity in general, not just LGBTQ, but, if you are only working with, white middle class couples, we're probably just going to, if you poo-poo on something, we're probably just going to find somebody who's going to work with us better and who's open and warm and loving, and that's important to us.
Absolutely.
And a lot of our ceremonies too, many couples come to us because they don't have that minister. They don't have a church home. And they're looking for something that's not religious. So we offer non-religious ceremonies. We offer religious ceremonies if that's what they want. Sometimes they'll go, well, I guess we need a blessing because of our parents. You make mom and dad happy. Well, we have a blessing that it doesn't actually call upon anyone. It just it starts off, may the one who brought you together. And the one can be whoever you want it to be. It's And so those people look for us too, because they want a meaningful, special wedding that isn't religious, but still has that same feel.
Absolutely.
And so
and on that note, I think we get a lot of people who are secular or even if they're a straight couple, they want to support a business that supports diversity, and so a lot of those calls are like, we want to use you because you sort of match our, who we are as, how we fit in our community, and that's been really great.
We've had a lot of couples like that.
A lot of opposite sex couples that are like, we want to use you because
y'all support everyone.
And that's first and foremost on our website. When you go to the website, it talks about, there's a whole article that was written by the 11th Hour.
Hey, that's
Brad's newspaper, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 So, I
So
saw your interview.
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a whole article there
Yeah.
that they did on they did it on me to start with.
Yeah.
But it talks about, it lays it out right there, who we are, what we stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And I always laugh and say my mother, who is 84, when we first started the business, she would always ask me, she goes, well, is today's wedding 2 boys, 2 girls, or 1 of each? And she's fully supportive. She's fully supportive, you know. And I love that. I love the fact that it's just a wedding, and it doesn't matter who's getting married.
Absolutely.
It is a wedding, and
That's absolutely incredible. So take me through this. So there's a couple of companies that say, hey, we really want to get married. Here's our budget. What's the process like taking let's say client through the process of talking to them initially to being at the wedding? Does that make sense?
Yes. So they're usually 9 times out of 10, they're going to connect with me on email.
Okay.
Because they've gone to the website, they've Googled, Macon wedding officiant or Macon wedding planner or something like that, and we pop up and they email me. And at that point, then I determine, are they looking for just an officiant? Are they looking for an elopement? Are they looking for a planner? What are you looking for? What do you need from us? And then if it's a planner, we'll send them to Koryn.
Comes to me.
Koryn gets to handle all that good stuff. If they're looking for an officiant, then that's when I start. Well, is it a religious wedding? Is it a secular wedding? What I have to, sometimes you have to pull.
Exactly.
You have to pull a little bit, but you get it all out. And here lately, it's been about this place. It's been, we wanted to have a courthouse wedding, and then we found out the courthouse wasn't marrying anybody. And so, and then I asked them, okay, do you want just a simple ceremony that just the 2 of you come in and we do it, after hours, that kind of thing? Or do you want something with music? And do you want the champagne toast afterwards? And, so it's a process of just trying to get to what they want. If it's planning that they want to, we got to then talk about budget. So that's where Koryn comes in, because she's always the money person. I'm the one who likes to spend it. She's the one who tells me I can't.
It's true.
What's the process like planning a wedding?
Gosh, I mean, that's just the funnest job ever, right? So it's like, it was so I've been a planner my whole my whole business career. So I did tours for high school bands and choirs and dance groups and theater groups. Here in Macon, I planned a lot of events. So I was with the Soapbox Derby and Brag Jam. So by nature, I'm a planner, right? Like organizing things and making sure an experience is good. So wedding planning was just that, but with just 2 people, and you're still bringing a big group of people together for a happy day. But it's mostly like, how can I make your experience good? What are you looking for in your wedding? So, I want a bohemian wedding and I would like it to look like this. Well, gosh, let me call this photographer because that person's gonna fit your needs. Let me call this DJ because that person's gonna fit your needs. So the idea is to have as many vendors with as as many themes as you can possibly have, and sort of match the couple with what they're wanting. I love finding venues. Venues are incredibly fun, right? And then you sort of figure out who you want to work with. There's some clients that they need a little more attention to, a grander kind of situation, and so you're able to get them into like the blacksmith shop. But then you have a couple who's just sort of chill and they're like library ballroom-ish, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so you sort of match the couple with the place, and that all feels really good. And you match the vendors with the people, and that, I think that's the most fun for me, is like, just what are we doing next? And then how do you get what family members are coming in? What flowers are we doing? Let me see pictures of your dresses. It's really just like you get to play for weeks, months.
And then we do pop-up weddings.
Yeah, we do.
Now what's a pop-up?
Those are fun.
So they'll call up and they'll say, okay, we've got 10 family members that we want to have, and but again, they're thinking about COVID right now, especially, and we'll just show up at one of the parks. We'll throw up an arch, and we'll we live stream it.
Grab a cake. She takes pictures. There's a photographer, sort of at our whim. Like we're like, hey, we've got a couple $100 for you. Come take a pictures for an hour, and then it's just like, poof, now we're married. Poof, now we're gone.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And we've done it at parks. alleyways, wherever,
alleyways.
yeah, wherever they want to get married, we will just pop up
Backyards.
backyards,
Well, that's absolutely good. I do want to ask, what's kind of the most memorable favorite wedding so far? But before we move into that, I do want to talk about you and how you got involved with Willow Cottage, because you said you were in planning in your previous careers, and I'm so glad already. How did you get involved going from that to Willow Cottage Weddings?
I think she, like she said, she just put out this message. I'm looking for officiant. She started, officiating, and she was like, I can't take on all of these smaller officiating jobs. I'd love to work with somebody else. And so I had gotten my officiant license or marriage license. Ordination. Yeah. I had gotten that so that I could do a jail wedding.
Okay.
So a friend of mine was like, hey, I really need somebody to marry these two people who are in jail so that they can figure out how they're going to navigate the system, and a very interesting situation. But from there, I was like, oh, well, now I'm ordained. And then all of a sudden I was like, my girlfriend would come and be like, oh, I have this same-sex couple that needs to get married. And we're also doing it so that they can, get on each other's insurance, and they didn't think that it was an option. So there was that kind of thing. And then she called me and I was like, let's do this. This sounds great. And then from there, it just was a natural, like, oh, we're meeting this couple, and also they need some planning. And I was like, well, I kind of do that in my sleep. Like, that's a thing that's a thing I do. Yeah, it's kind of what I do. And so we just started doing it, and she started seeing the benefits of just maybe doing bigger things, and then it became full wedding planning or day of coordination. And day of coordination is like the couple plans everything, but they need somebody to sort of manage it for the day so they can enjoy their day. So
exactly.
they
direct it.
Like, when is the caterer coming? When are the flowers coming? When is the DJ? How's everybody setting up? Oh, my mom needs this. My dad needs this. How do we get the photographer where they need to be? But a bride is, getting ready.
She's got other things to worry about.
She's gonna be getting married that day, right? He's gonna, so I'm there to just, they give me all the information, so they plan their whole wedding, and then I get all the information to just sort of make the day go well. So that sort of helped out too. That was a lot of fun, and so we would just sort of divide and conquer. So she's really great at the decor and making people feel warm and fuzzy, and I'm really great at being like, okay, when's the caterer coming? She's like, I always say, if you like me, you're definitely gonna love Kelly. She's like the warm, fuzzy person.
Wow. I'm the extra mom who's there.
The extra mom
to hold hands and to take care of things. And
absolutely.
I think talking about the favorite wedding, probably
favorite wedding.
Most memorable
I think
favorite?
The most memorable to me, and there have been so many, but it's going to be our very first one.
How many weddings do you think y'all have done so far?
Oh, gosh.
Throw a number on it.
A couple of hundred, I know.
Well, definitely officiating. I mean,
the
organization the company probably does 50 a year, 50 to 60 a year.
50 is it, yeah.
Yeah, pretty easily. And that's,
and there have been days.
There's only 52 weeks in a
Yeah.
year. So
There have been weekends when I've had 3 weddings in a weekend.
Wow.
That I just officiated. But the most memorable is going to be Ben and Lauren.
Ben and Lauren was great.
Our very first one that we did everything for.
That was a little nerve-wracking.
It was extremely nerve-wracking because we
were
were
small space. We were so new. The bride needed a little more attention.
Yeah, right, because her mother was not available. So I went dress shopping with her. Wow. I did everything. Yeah,
that's full commitment, right?
Yeah, we really did hold her hand through the whole thing. But
she walked out. She was stunning.
And it was at Sochi Gallery, which is not here anymore. And we were doing things a little differently because the space was odd, but we had a blast.
It was so much fun, yeah.
And I remember that, and they now are parents, and so they've been together. That was 2016.
Didn't they have a baby? She got pregnant.
She got pregnant on the honeymoon. Literally got pregnant on the honeymoon. Yeah. They had a baby 9 months after the wedding.
Wow. How's the process changed from your first wedding to where you're at now?
Oh, it's a lot more organized.
I think so. Yeah. I think that when we started dividing and conquering, it made it a lot easier. So there are things. So there is a lot of things. So I take care of the budgetary concerns, but then she puts together the proposal so that bride and groom sort of get the whole view of everything. And then I'm, as I'm doing with the budgeting and the organizing and the itinerary, she's, organizing decor and, ordering
It almost sounds
flowers.
like yin and yang. Like you have the technical side, left brain, right brain side.
Yes,
of things.
yes.
I mean, not that I have a cold dead heart by any means, but there is this really, like, she's really great at, like, pulling information out of people. So I could be like, what is your decor? What does your outfits look like? What family members are going? And she's like, but let's break that down and let's really, like, gather the creative part of what you want to see at your wedding. Oh, food. Let's talk about food. And then that's sort of where our ideas sort of flow from. So while I'm, like, just trying to, I need information so I can get you going, right? She's like, let's soften that up. And
let's have a conversation.
Let's throw some glitter on that.
Oh, I'm very into glitter. But yeah, and if it was up to me, we would probably never make a dime because I turn around and spend all of it on more stuff. As you can see, I love stuff.
Right. There have been times when I'm like, I know you want to get that kind of flower, but it's about 3 times the amount of this kind of flower that looks very similar. And she's like, oh.
So yes, Koryn keeps me in line when it comes to that.
That's awesome. A great partnership.
It really is, and she really just makes everything look great. And it's a nice thing, yeah.
I get to get my artistic stuff out in this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Well, and now because we're so COVID made us separate. So we actually last year all of our weddings were canceled. Everything we were doing. I mean, we weren't even doing elopements for a while.
I did a few at the beginning of COVID because people all of a sudden realized they needed insurance. They'd been living together for a while, and it was like, what if we get sick?
Yeah.
What if So I would do a few of them, but it was very brief. Just the quick weddings outside. I insisted on everything being outside. Everybody masked.
We're not holding the rings anymore. We're not forcing things like that.
It's so a lot of it has changed. When I'm in here, the couple will be up here. This actually isn't here, and I'm over here.
6 feet away.
6 feet away. And we've got, we usually live stream everything. So the camera will be back here. And I found out this works great for live streaming because when they turn to look at me, they're looking now at the camera. So their people who are watching get to see their faces, not the backs of their heads.
Wow.
And so it actually works out better that way.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible. So what was the pivot like? Because obviously COVID hit a lot of small businesses hard down, especially in downtown Macon. What was the pivot y'all had to make from pre-COVID to during COVID? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was really just kind of rethinking how we're going to do this.
Because weddings are, you got ceremonies where people are gathering together. Before COVID, no one was ever 6 feet apart at weddings. So it's every part of COVID is hitting y'all personally.
And she's a hugger, and so I kept telling her there was a problem with that. But, so, we don't get to hug our couples anymore,
Exactly.
and wearing the mask, because I will stay masked. I don't make the couple stay masked, but I will stay masked through the whole ceremony. And I've only done one indoor wedding since COVID. From here on out, if it's not in here and very small, I only will do outdoor weddings. And I'm very particular about making sure that we're 6 feet apart. If we're outdoors and the ventilation is good and we've got good social distancing, I will unmask. Otherwise, I will stay masked for the whole ceremony. Absolutely. It's just about being safe. And most of the couples feel the same way. I mean, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to keep them and their guests safe.
Have you seen any couples really lean into it, like wear their mask during photos or anything like that?
I've had a few with their mask. Most of them, the big thing now is, you always had your wedding favors, which were candies or little gifts and all. So now they provide masks, and they like these, and they provide hand sanitizer, little personalized hand sanitizers with their names on them. Instead of the matchbooks. It's
incredible.
Become a whole nother pivot for wedding
business. Most people though so we had several weddings last year or in 2020 that we had to cancel. So there was probably 5 or 6 that we had to just they're not, they don't know, we don't know, it's happening. So you just refund the money. But then they sort of came back and were like, this is the smaller version of what we want to do because we still want to get married. And I think a lot of couples are reaching out to her to be like, oh, I heard you did this wedding this way. Can you do it? Can you also do mine? And that's been helpful. I don't think people are calling us that aren't on the same page.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, again, on the website, first thing is we maintain COVID, CDC guidelines. We follow everything.
But I think that also resonates with, the kind of people that are going to call us. We're not getting an influx of people that are like, nope, we're going to have this giant wedding and no mask. And you know what? If you don't like it, then you don't have, there's no aggression.
Yeah, you're really putting your values and what y'all stand for at the forefront. It's the first thing on the website they see this. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually incredible. What's my next question be? And this question I like to ask at a lot of the interviews is, what's a couple things that you wish the Macon community knew more about Willow Cottage Weddings?
That we're here. Number one, that we welcome everybody. Mm-hmm. We don't, we're not here to judge. We're not here to make. We've had a couple of brides where, they literally gave birth within a week of the wedding. We don't care about things like that. That is not, we're just here to make people happy.
Right,
and to celebrate love.
The artist, who's the guy, Hamilton? Yeah. He's like, love is love.
Yeah.
Love is love. Like whenever we're doing this, I always feel that in my heart. Like love is like, how do you spread love? How do you create love? How do you make your day special? And I'm not married and I don't plan to get married, but I love good weddings. Like, give me a good wedding. I want to be a part of it. I want to see the sparkle in your eyes. I want to see the love in the room. I want your parents to be excited for you. I want your kids to be happy for you. Like I want all of it.
Wow.
And
so y'all just pretty much adopted this space being the new year, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I was doing them at my house and they were outside and that was great. But once COVID hit, my husband lost his job in March. Mm-hmm. And having people to the house became just a little bit of it was hard.
It's not possible.
It's not possible to have people that
safety concern.
Yeah.
Right. It was fine for a while.
Yeah.
My goal has always been to have a downtown chapel.
Okay.
And it was just a matter then of finding the space. And when I started having all these couples calling me going, look, we just want to make it legal. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a big wedding in a year. We'll, work with you again then, but we just want to make it legal right now. That's when I said, okay, this is the time to just go ahead and bite the bullet.
Mm-hmm. And I think for you also, these same people, while they're like, oh, we want the quick, fast, they also want it to be pretty and meaningful.
Yeah,
and,
not just in the courtroom.
Yeah,
sometimes.
We're very easy. We can pop into a park that's no big deal, and we've done plenty of these quick elopement. I'll see you at Washington Park and we'll do this thing. But there are couples that are like, but we do want to be more intimate and we do want to be inside, and also weather is always a concern. And,
well, that was the other big thing is like she said, we can go to a park at any point in time. Yeah. We've done Tatnall, Washington, Emerson.
My little black dress, head on out.
Yeah, and we can be there in 15 minutes and we can make sure you're married. But to have a space that stays decorated, that it doesn't matter if it's pouring down raining or the occasional snow that we might get next month.
Hail.
Hail, whatever happens, you can still come in here on that day and time. And that's that was important, was to have that space.
So what is the ceremony like in this ring? So from start to end?
It can be anything you want. So we have a very simple ceremony that literally is 15 to 20 minutes tops. And it's just for the couple. We can live stream again anytime. And we live stream to the La Petite Mariage Facebook page. And then it just makes it legal. But it's still pretty. And they can choose if they want religious or non-religious. But then we have a singer, Kelly Dixon, and James Worsham, both are acoustic singers, and they come in and will provide music if they want music. We have a photographer that can do outside photography before the wedding, and then the photography during the ceremony, and then he does the street photography outside, which is absolutely wonderful.
Cool.
And that's Mike Young, and Suzanne Lawler of WMAZ also is a photographer here. And so you can do a champagne toast if you want to afterwards. You can make it whatever you want to make it. The longest that it may last is an hour, and that's with a toast and everything. Yeah.
That's kind of the whole shebang.
That's the whole shebang. That's the whole thing. The shortest is 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. I do want to hit on this before we sign off and start slowing it down a little bit. Let's talk about, I know we talked a little bit before, but I'm still a little confused on it. I want to make sure there's clarity. If someone wants to have a wedding in middle Georgia and they come to you, what services do y'all provide? So it's not just if they want to have a venue like this and do it and have a small legal ceremony, but you'll also do everything in part of the process, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So we provide officiants.
Mm-hmm.
That's first and foremost.
Okay.
Second is planning, which is Koryn.
Oh, yeah.
Then I have a girl, Julie Asbury, who is now doing the floral decor. Now, this is not the great big stuff. This is, again, smaller budget-wise that she will handle. Mm-hmm. She's on staff with us. Then music, Kelly Dixon, James Warsham are ones who work with us. Photographers, we have a lot of these people who work directly with us, and then we can find other vendors as well. So we can do pretty much whatever anybody wants.
So someone can really just come to y'all and go, hey, I want to get married. I don't know what I'm doing. Can y'all please help me out? And y'all
there's a whole consultation. So we'll do a whole let's talk first. Like, you don't have to, this is all a free consultation. Let's talk about what is important to you. And then we sit down and we talk about what is your vision for the day? What day do you want to get married? How many people are coming? What kind of food are you looking at? What kind of photography? So I find that most brides and grooms, they sort of, when they get engaged, it all sort of like flies at them like, we could do all these things. Yeah. So, but they do have a vision, and immediately, I mean, I've never even come up to a bride and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. All brides come with a Pinterest page. All of them do.
Amazing.
Gosh.
Like all
it's
of
also
them
the bane of our existence
sometimes. I'll tell you this not too long ago. My girlfriend and I, we've been dating for a while, for like 4 years, and all of a sudden she sent me a text one day. And it was a link to her Pinterest board, and it was just like 75 different kind of rings in there, and like.
Just want you to know.
Every so I think she has a schedule now. Every so often she'll like. Sitting through. So that's absolutely crazy. So.
Well, we actually, I didn't get to officiate. My daughter said no, but
you got to be a part of the process.
That's what she said. You got to be the mother of the bride this time. But Koryn did all the coordinating, and I did all the florals and the management of my daughter's wedding back in August of 2019.
Oh my gosh, it's so long.
It's been the one who's about to have a baby, and so that was a lot of fun to be able to be that involved in your daughter's wedding and not have her get onto you for.
No, I was able to tell Kelly, listen, I know you want to do this thing, but you're going to have to let me. Because, like, go be the mother of the bride for a minute. Like, go do that for a little while. So there was a couple times I was like, Kelly, I know you want that last flower to go up, but we hired people to do that. Can you go get dressed now? But she was so excited. It was so exciting because she was able to be part of that process.
Awesome.
So that's the way I treat every couple.
Like they are your daughter.
Like they are my daughter or my son. I want to be that close to them. And most of them remain friends with me on Facebook afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. As we start winding down a little bit, is there anything that I may have missed that you want to talk about? Anything else you want to highlight? That kind of thing?
I think we covered everything.
I mean, we'd really love people to give us a ring and see what we can do, and that's the most important. We know that your day, it's not our day. We just want your day to be amazing for you.
And we're always honored when a couple chooses us.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It is an honor to do that, to be a part of that experience.
Fantastic. So what we'll do, just look at the camera, tell them who you are, where to find you, social media, so we can put it in, and they can call you and have y'all plan the wedding.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Again, this is Kelly Sullivan Joyner, and it's Willow Cottage Weddings, and you can find us on Facebook at Willow Cottage Weddings or Le Petit Mariage. You can also find us on the web at www.willowcottageweddings.com or elopetomaconga.com.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Hi, I'm Koryn Young. I work with Kelly, and I'm with Macon Experiences, and we've been working together, and that's the company that you go through if you plan your wedding. But you can find me with Willow Cottage Weddings anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for sitting down today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thank
you.
you.
Yay.
Nice.